So, hello, Dr. Molly McBride. I'm so happy we are here and finally made time to have this
I'm thrilled.
conversation. Yes, to have this conversation on Shift Happens. So, Molly and I, we've known each other for a little while. Molly has been on a panel that I'd organized and a salon on women's health, which was a big hit. And people still ask me that we need to do a follow up on this. And then we also collaborated on smaller salons in your practice in New York City. And now you're here to share your knowledge with a broader audience, which is fantastic. So thank you so much for being here.
So happy to be here.
Before we start and talk about your pivot and a meaningful moment that really had a huge impact on your life, I want to ask you a few questions. What is your current state of mind?
I am probably at 60 years old in the best state of mind I've been. I feel like I am settled, happy. My children are fairly settled. My marriage is good, and I love my job. I feel at peace.
That's fantastic. Um, was there something this week that made you smile?
My child, my 25-year-old, has been living on my couch for a while because he has a new life and a job. And we signed a lease on an apartment yesterday. So that made me smile.
Oh, yes. Congratulations. That's great.
Time to launch him.
Yes. What would you say is your superpower?
Empathy, empathy, passion, good communication.
Hmm. Hmm. So, passion, empathy is probably also something that propelled you into making the decision to completely change your life. And it would be
Yes.
great if you could share um, this time when you pivoted.
Okay. I've had a number of pivots through my life.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm big on pivoting, and I love that word
Hmm.
because that's exactly what it is. You're just taking a different direction. So I had a 20-year practice in Wilmington, Delaware, OBGYN practice, and I was a popular doctor there, well liked, well respected, had a very big practice, well established, things were going great. I have a daughter who was pursuing a career in ballet, and she
Hmm.
received the opportunity to dance at the School of the American Ballet Theater when she was 12.
Wow. Wow.
And that meant a move to New York in a very short time. We got the letter. They said you have to move to New York in a week. My husband and I both have full-time jobs. My husband's a urologist with a big practice. And we went and discussed it with the ballet instructors, and they said, if you say no, she's never going to get the chance again. So my husband and I lay in bed at night, discussed it, and thought life is short. She needs to follow her passion. So I'll pick up and move to New York with her. I did not, I hadn't had a resume for 20 years.
Hmm.
I knew not very much about New York at all. I did not even know East and West when I first got there. I would
Yeah.
go to the wrong address all the time. I put my resume on Indeed and took a job with a place called Walk-in GYN, which is kind of urgent care for gynecology, which I thought was a great concept.
Hmm.
And you never know with the ballet if it's going to last. You could be cut in the next year. So I thought, okay, it's an easy in, easy out, no investment. It was located in Astoria.
Oh, wow.
I did not know Astoria was Queens. I did
Hmm.
not even know where I was. I would take the subway and get off. And people would say, "Oh, you're working in Queens." I'm like, "No, no, no. I'm not in Queens. I'm in Astoria." That's how
Hmm.
brave and new this all was. So I really was not a New Yorker.
Hmm.
And now I really am.
Hmm.
So I did the job at Walk-in-GYN for a while, which was a great concept, but I had a boss and I'd never had a boss before in my life. I've
Hmm.
always had my own practice.
Hmm.
And I just always feel like I can do things a little better. I like my style. I like to be in
Good.
control.
Yeah.
So once again, I put my resume on Indeed, and there was a urologist looking to add a gynecologist to a practice.
Hmm.
So I jumped in and had to start the GYN practice from baseline there. They had never done GYN. I had one employee. We got it up and running, and within 2 weeks, we were packed and busy. And I did that job for a long
Fantastic.
time, probably
Hmm.
7 years. And
Hmm.
then in that practice, so many people started asking about perimenopause, menopause, all the changes happening.
Hmm.
And with the current medical system, you get about 10 to 15 minutes with someone, which is not enough time to
Hmm.
discuss those issues. I feel like people really needed time. They needed me to listen to them, pay
Hmm.
attention.
Yeah.
So then I took my next pivot and started a side hustle doing telehealth with Salon NYC, which is Irish for health and wellness. So I was doing that evenings, weekends, Fridays
Wow.
by telehealth only. And it was so rewarding. I
Hmm.
spent 45 minutes with women, really changed their lives. We laughed, we cried, we really addressed their issues, listened,
Did you,
validated.
if I may ask in between, did you do this during COVID or did you already start before COVID with this telehealth?
It was post COVID,
Oh, okay. Ah, yeah.
post COVID. So telehealth
Mm.
was available at
Yeah,
that
yeah,
point.
yeah.
Mhm, mhm. So then I got a call from another physician who said, "I'd like your side hustle to be your main hustle. So will you come join me?" So again, that was at 58, made another change
Hmm.
and joined full time and I'm doing menopause management, perimenopause, hormonal management, weight loss, medical weight loss for my menopausal women, um, full time. So I've had
So
a lot of pivots later in life,
you
post
surely,
50.
yes, that's
It's
incredible.
never too late.
No, it's never too late. And you're just such a perfect, wonderful, inspiring example for it. And I do have a question because you are specializing in, perimenopause, menopause, and postmenopause. How did it affect you?
Well,
How did you get all the
interestingly,
energy and.
I have research is different now.
Hmm.
A lot of research has changed with menopause. We know so much more than we did. When I was going through it, I had a blood clotting disorder. So
Oh,
it was not on the table for me. I could not take hormone replacement therapy. So I suffered through it. There were times when I could have taken my tank top off standing on the platform in the subway in August. I was sweating so much. So it was a difficult time. I really understood and sympathized. And now
hmm.
it turns out with later research that topical estrogen does not cause blood clots. So I probably didn't need to suffer, but I have to say it made me very sympathetic and
Hmm.
empathetic. It was a
Yeah,
tough time. I
yeah.
wasn't sleeping well. I was
Hmm.
edgy. I was sweating. It's hard when you're talking to people to stay respectable and have sweat dripping down your face and your white blouse. So it was a tough time. Menopause was
Hmm.
a tough time for me. I
Hmm.
tried to
Hmm.
exercise and meditate and do those other things, but there's really nothing that replaces hormone therapy. So
Hmm.
thankfully, we've progressed a lot in our education with what's
Hmm.
safe and effective, and a whole new world has opened up for women. And there
Hmm.
still needs to be so much education. It's still the whisper network.
What do you think is the reason why it has taken so long to be a topic that is, taken seriously in the medical field and in society? And and now, it's more on the agenda, thankfully, and more research has been done and we have more knowledge, but it's still kind of a hesitant
I
topic.
think I think there are a number of reasons. The biggest is the study by the Women's Health Initiative about 30 years ago
Hmm.
that was just poorly done and wrong. I'll never forget the day Matt Lauer came out on the Today Show and said hormone therapy causes breast cancer. And my phone was ringing off the hook. Everybody stopped taking it. And I think doctors were afraid to prescribe it
Hmm.
because of risk. And it was completely not true. The estrogens, and also a lot has changed. The estrogen that was used then was higher dose and very synthetic. It was made from the urine of pregnant mares. And the progesterone that was used was also very synthetic. So we've come a long way. The products are now very natural estradiol products and natural progesterone products. So I think a generation of women really lost out and really had their lives impacted significantly from a study that was poorly done and has since been walked back and completely debunked. And I
Hmm.
think it was I'm sort of disappointed in my colleagues who didn't pursue figuring that out, that the study was bad and finding new answers and finding new ways. There's still so many physicians that are my colleagues that don't deal with menopause, don't prescribe hormone therapy, and just don't even want to talk about it. And I think a lot of women are dismissed
Hmm.
when they talk about their symptoms. They are told, "Oh, you'll be fine. Just get over it." Meanwhile, it can destroy your life. If you have brain fog, if you're not sleeping, you're
Hmm.
edgy and depressed. And I think,
Yeah.
at that age, it's often the most complicated time of your life, whether your
Hmm.
kids are sort of teens, your marriage has been there for a while. That's always
Hmm.
difficult to navigate through. Your job, you're kind of at the peak of your job and you're the least capable of handling it.
Hmm.
And you don't want to talk about it because if you're working with men, they don't understand, they don't want to hear it. So you're feeling very isolated.
Hmm. So now in your
So I think a
practice.
lot of it too,
Hmm.
there's a lack of education. The
Hmm.
residents don't learn about menopause. There's a complete lack of education.
How can that be changed?
I think it's finally changing
Hmm.
because it's finally getting talked about, but I don't think in this society there's not very much medical research done on women, and
Yeah.
not a lot of money put into women's health.
Even though it
Testosterone is
even
good.
though it is it's such a growing market, right? I mean, in the next 5 years, it's
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 a
I think
billion-dollar industry.
billion-dollar
Mhm.
industry. Yeah.
Companies should be taking notice, but it's getting there, but still everybody still has questions. I would say the one positive I'm seeing is the slightly younger generation,
Hmm.
the 40 somethings don't remember that study and they're becoming aware of it and they're not going to put up with it. They're independent, they're have jobs and careers, they don't want to slip, and they're staying ahead of it, which I'm really happy about and really proud of, if they can find a provider to listen to them.
Hmm. So what are the what is the best to provide and to put in place already before one hits menopause?
I think you have to start recognizing, really recognizing symptoms can start as early as 35. So
Hmm.
if you're starting to feel like you're not sleeping quite as well, like you're getting edgier, your patience is thinner, a lot of people say, I don't feel like myself. So
Hmm.
not feeling like yourself is really a term.
Mm.
And and it's vague, but you should listen to your body and have find a provider who will listen.
Hmm.
And and there's controversy about the blood work because the numbers can be up and down, but you can get a baseline and you can treat symptoms at that age. I would say stay ahead of it. Listen to yourself. Don't dismiss your feelings. Find someone who's going to validate them for you. And
Mm.
sometimes there's not even something perfectly to be done at that stage, but just being listened to and being validated is really important. Talk to your friends. I'm really seeing a lot of great networking, women talking to other women,
Hmm.
educating other
Yes.
women. Unfortunately, that's what it's come down to.
Hmm.
Some of the stars are now talking about it, which is helpful, but there's also a little bit of this menopause gold rush, it's
Hmm.
called. There's
Hmm.
a lot of products being
Yeah.
flooded onto the market, and I think flooding people's Instagram feeds that are not FDA approved. They're
Hmm.
supplements making false promises. So people are now looking to profit um, from menopause and
Yeah.
menopause symptoms. And women are
Hmm.
desperate for
Hmm.
answers and they're ordering
Hmm.
all of these things that really have no effect. And most of the hormone replacement therapy is covered by insurance.
Hmm.
So you shouldn't have to spend all of that on supplements that don't work. So I think you really have to be aware of what's out there and do your research because generally most of these supplements are not effective.
And and hormone replacement therapy is, in your experience, really the best to put in
The gold
place.
standard for the right patient.
Hmm.
It is not for everyone. Not everyone qualifies. If you've had a history of breast cancer, it's probably a no, but there are still things you can do.
Hmm.
There are some newer products out there that are fantastic. There's one called Veoza, which is non-hormonal. It works in your brain to regulate your temperature control. It also helps with mood and sleep, and it's entirely not hormonal. The problem there is it's not well covered, of course.
Hmm.
So we have to do a prior authorization and work really hard to get it covered, which we're willing to do because we see the importance of it. But a lot of offices are too overwhelmed to do the prior authorization. The
Hmm.
other really important thing is that even if you've had breast cancer, everyone can have vaginal estrogen. So, one of the big things that happens that no one talks about is sex becomes painful. And
Hmm.
that is purely due to a lack of estrogen. And
Hmm.
it's not just dryness. Everyone talks about dryness. It's really atrophy. So the tissue gets thinner. So sex starts to feel like your vagina feels like cut glass or sandpaper. And it also makes you more prone to urinary tract infections
Hmm.
because your urethra also gets atrophic. There's been a black box warning on vaginal estrogen that it causes stroke, it causes cancer. So, just recently, this week, a number of physicians went to the FDA to demand that black box warning be removed because there's no validity to it.
Hmm.
Vaginal estrogen is safe. It is local. It is safe for breast cancer patients. It's safe for
Hmm.
all women. I equate it to eye cream. It's just sort of got to be part of your routine,
Hmm.
not just for maintaining intercourse that's not painful, but also vaginal health and
Hmm.
reducing the risk of urinary tract infections later in life.
Hmm. Hmm. So many taboos, huh?
I know. I
Yeah.
know. I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's also, I guess, because it has been such a taboo forever, finding the right language and being comfortable with the language and to talk about it. Yeah. It's like, I mean, we would talk about if we had, I don't know, something's wrong with our arm. That would not be a problem. And immediately when it comes to the sexual organs, it's always
Nobody talks about it.
yeah, taboo.
And
And no
and
languages,
it's a
no real
shame.
languages there. Yeah, it's a shame. Yeah,
No, it's a shame.
yeah.
The other thing that we've now discovered about hormone replacement therapy is there's way more to it than just alleviating symptoms. So
Hmm.
now the research is coming out finally about longevity and health. When you go through menopause, your insulin resistance goes down. So your blood sugar tends to go up. You can become pre diabetic. Your cholesterol goes up.
Hmm.
You start to form visceral fat. You lose muscle. I mean, it's just terrible. And with estrogen, we're now finding there's a significant decrease in cardiovascular risk for people
Hmm.
taking estrogen. It helps bone health, so reduces osteoporosis. There are big new findings coming out about its effect on dementia and Alzheimer's. And I think those are two of every woman's biggest fear,
Hmm. Hmm.
dementia and Alzheimer's. And it looks like estrogen is going to be protective against and reduce the risk significantly. So people have to stop thinking of it now as just hot flashes.
Yeah,
It's so
exactly.
much more. It's
Yeah,
long-term
that was.
health.
Hmm.
And I'm still every day educating about that.
And with osteoporosis and dementia, Alzheimer, everything you said before, cardiovascular disease, how much do you think it also is a part of nutrition? Which part does
It's
nutrition play?
all, I think you have to put it all together.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just hormones. Exercise is really important. So we're finding the biggest longevity factor for women is building muscle. So
Mm-hmm.
strength training is very important. Muscle mass equates to health. It also equates to less risk of fracture
Mm-hmm.
because you're stable and you have more muscle. So and exercise also helps with dementia and Alzheimer's. Nutrition is vital. We know we have to eat more protein than we ever did before. I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
think as women, we did aerobics and we ate carbs and we
Mm-hmm.
calorie counted.
Mm-hmm.
And now, really, how I look at it is I want you to be strong, not skinny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's been a reversal for women
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
to change how they exercise. You really have to lift heavy weights, and that's going to help you live longer and healthier and reverse part of what's happening with menopause, which will then help your metabolism.
Mm-hmm.
So when you become menopausal, you don't metabolize fat as well or carbohydrates as well. So unfortunately, it's not that fun, but you have to focus on increasing your protein and only adding a little bit of fat and carbohydrates. It's really important to start your day with 30 grams of protein because then you're going to keep your blood sugar stable
Mm-hmm.
throughout the day. And if you're going to have carbohydrates and fat, you should actually have them at night. So for dinner, you can have chicken, salmon, have vegetables, and you can add in a sweet potato or something else at that point because overnight then you'll process it better. But
Mm-hmm.
nutrition, it all matters. Nutrition, exercise, hormones, it's all part of it. Um, I'm not a
It's
huge supplement fan.
hmm I mean, it's
There's a
almost like
lot of
a
people.
like a like a sorry, but it's almost like a complete science program.
It really is science. I mean, my my feeling about, I'm science-based. This is
Mm-hmm.
science. It's a matter of all of this is physiology.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
it really is the whole picture. And I think women are really feeling so much better when they
Mm-hmm.
make these changes. Your energy's better. I think the hardest thing, one of the biggest complaints in menopause is sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Sleep is
Yes.
tough for everyone, but I do think when you're exercising, I recommend a little magnesium at night. If you're taking hormones, the progesterone is calming and helps you sleep. So those are some big things, sure, put your screen away, all those things,
Yeah,
we
yeah,
all know
yeah.
what we're supposed to
To
do,
do.
but
Don't do it. Yeah.
but it doesn't always work. So
Yeah.
I think exercise helps you sleep better. And I think taking a little magnesium at night and taking progesterone is big. There are a million supplements out there. I think that's a full-time job. I would much rather people get their vitamins from food.
Mm-hmm.
I do think vitamin D is really important. Vitamin D affects your metabolism and it affects your bones, it affects your brain, it affects your cholesterol. So everyone should have their vitamin D checked and make sure they're taking enough of that. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's important. I think fish oil is important. I think magnesium is important, but
Mm-hmm.
otherwise, I'm not a big supplement person. Eat well. Get your
Mm-hmm.
nutrition through your food.
So you believe that the food that we consume today and have access to provides enough vitamins if it's
If
like
you're
good
doing it the
healthy.
right way.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. Well, that's good to know, because there are so many thought schools and opinions out there, and it can get very confusing and overwhelming.
I agree. I agree. I think there's a lot of people saying a lot of different things. So I think you have to sort of do your own research too, and then maybe get one or two opinions.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, probably like, I don't know, the common red thread has not been established yet. And everybody's kind of searching, working with their doctor, but also the doctors, as you said earlier, have different standards in their own knowledge about
Exactly.
it. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. Which, yeah, is tough. It's tough
Mm,
to find. Even
mm,
in New York City, patients tell me it's hard to find someone who's doing this, sort of all over women's health.
hmm
And that's a shame.
hmm
We deserve it.
Yeah, we do. And and what do you think could your profession, like all the gynecologists, do to propel that pharma, that just more research money is going into women's health?
Well, we don't know what's going to happen to research
Yeah,
money right now.
that's true.
There
Yeah.
are people in the private sector, Melinda Gates, for one,
hmm
is giving all of her money to women's health research,
hmm hmm
research for women. So thankfully,
Yeah.
there is a doctor named Lisa Mosconi, who is
hmm
at Cornell. She received a large grant to prove that estrogen does reduce the risk of Alzheimer's. So
hmm
we're getting there, but people need
hmm
to care about women and women's health.
hmm hmm
Testosterone is a very important hormone for women. We make as much testosterone as estrogen in our lifetime, and that drops with menopause. And that's not just libido, it's also energy, muscle tone. There are about 30 preparations on the market for men and zero for women. Zero. So we have to use a compounding pharmacy that's not covered by insurance, or you have to use a little bit of a men's gel, which is really hard dosing wise because it's not dosed for women. So you could end up with side effects with that. At
hmm
least with the compounded, you can sort of customize it, but then you got to pay cash for that.
Wow.
It's not
Really?
covered.
Wow. Do you know? I mean, are there any plans from any pharmaceutical companies to go in that direction? I mean, it would be
You
such a
would
huge
think,
market.
but
Yeah.
it's just, it's not been a priority at all.
Hmm.
Women's libido is not a priority. There's one medication on the market called
Hmm.
Addie that's for hypoactive sexual disorder for women. It's the one drug on the market, and it's fantastic. It's great, and a lot of doctors still don't know about it and don't prescribe it. But there's one.
Just one. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, we can only
We got a
hope.
long way to go.
A long way to go. And thanks to, such strong and forceful voices and people like you, hopefully there will be change. But otherwise, as you said earlier, women really depend on other women and an more open exchange and a more open educational way of being with each
The
other,
Whisper
like
Network.
sharing, yeah, sharing experiences, the whisper network,
Mhm.
correct. And yeah, that's really the key for that.
It really is key.
Mm.
And I think my colleagues need to educate themselves. There are plenty of conferences. There's Menopause Society. There's conferences all the time. I think it's hard. The state of medicine is hard right now. You
Hmm.
know, most doctors have to see sometimes 30 patients a day to just keep the lights on. So I think there's a lot of burnout happening. The system is not great anymore.
Mm.
So it's really hard in a standard visit to have, I mean, these conversations take me a half an hour, 45 minutes of really delving. And you just can't do that in your standard gynecology practice anymore. So,
Mm.
and I think people who are delivering babies,
Hmm.
I'm not doing obstetrics anymore.
Hmm.
That is really busy and hectic, and they're exhausted. They don't have time. They don't have time to go to a conference or read
Hmm.
more. I'm
Yeah,
sure they would love to, but
yeah.
um, it's tough. It's medicine is getting tougher, and I'm seeing much more burnout now than ever before. It's changed.
Oh, it's it's essential, yeah.
Essential. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
And,
S-
my model is, I don't take insurance for my consultation. I use insurance for lab work and pap smears and any studies, but
mhm.
I can't because I need 45 minutes with someone and they
Mhm.
get everything done. Well, they have a 45-minute discussion. We do a body scan. We do labs. It's really extensive.
Mhm.
And I think people now are feeling like they want to invest in their health. It's so important. And I
Mhm.
think
Mhm.
talking about pivoting and shifting,
Mhm.
why shouldn't you be able to? Sometimes we're having our best ideas at 60, at
Mhm.
50. We're having our best ideas. And finally, we have time in our lives to think about what we really want to do. We're not running home to cook dinner for everybody and
Mhm.
do as much laundry. Like this is a prime time for women to pivot and find their passion, but they have to feel good to do it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's why I was asking you because you said you had so many pivots, especially after 50.
Mhm.
What's the secret there?
I'm
But
I'm lifting heavy weights. I'm
mhm.
eating protein
Yeah.
and doing my best. But I think also prioritizing your health
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
and saying no to things. No is a complete sentence. Don't spread yourself too thin.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely right.
Stop
So
pleasing others.
in your daily life or in your work week, what do you do to center yourself, to calm down, and what do you do to energize yourself if you need that?
So the weightlifting to me has been really great. I did not enjoy it at first. I forced myself to go. And then as I saw the progress of getting stronger and feeling powerful, I really began to
Hmm.
enjoy it and look forward to going. So that's something that I really like. And I think it's also important to walk. I love to walk. We're in the city. I don't have a car here. So sometimes it's nice to just put a podcast on your AirPods and take a big long walk.
Hmm.
That's very peaceful to me and grounding.
Hmm. Hmm. Nice. And if I may ask, where's your daughter dancing now?
She is retired
Okay.
and she is now finishing graduate school,
Ah,
but
okay.
she danced professionally for a long time. It's a hard life.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
she's still
Yeah.
dancing um, in her free time. She still takes classes, but she's moved on from that and is pursuing a career in national security.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, she pivoted.
Yes, she clearly
She
did.
pivoted at 22. Yeah.
Oh, Molly, thank you so much. A lot of good advice, and also it's. I think it's always important to hear doctors talk about hormone replacement therapy to take off the stigma and really emphasize the advantages and how much better women can feel with it, right?
It's it's kind of a miracle. You know, it
Mm,
really
mm,
does. Within weeks, you
mm,
feel just like yourself again.
mm,
You're sleeping, you have energy, your mood is good. You know, keep an open mind and do it for yourself and do it for a long, healthy life. That's the other big thing now to stress is it's not just symptomatic. It's going to help you live longer and healthier.
mhm,
And you really have to find people who have the science and the data to show you because people are scared. They've been scared for so long.
mm,
So I spend sometimes the first half of the conversation demystifying the study and showing people the new studies and reinforcing. And they still often have to think about it, but it's an uphill battle.
mhm, mhm. Well, thank you for your wisdom
My pleasure.
and it was so lovely to see you. Thank you
And
so
I want to
much, Molly.
encourage everybody, take a risk.
Yes, yes.
Take a risk. What
Take
have
a
you got
risk.
to lose?
Exactly, exactly. I'm with you. I'm on it.
Great.
Okay.
So good to
Thank
talk to you.
Good to talk to you. Bye bye.